Broads Media.
Yeah, what's up? I'm pissed. Phillies are pissing me off. Before we get into it, welcome on into the channel. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and make sure you check out Sports Talk with Broads on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your podcasting platforms. Subscribe over there. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. That really helps with the algorithm. So thank you all so much. And real quickly, there's nothing better than sports betting, right? We can all agree on that. What if I told you that you have the ability to see where all of these online sports books currently stand with their bonuses and their sign-up bonuses, where you can essentially get a nice free how do you do? The way to check all that out is clicking the link down below, bookies.com/broads. It is a no-brainer. You have the luxury of taking advantage of these online sports books and the offers that they have for you right at your fingertips. Do not be a fool. Check it out. Bookies.com/broads. Make sure you do it. With that, I'll shut up. Thank you all so much and enjoy the show. All right, so why don't we take a break from all the Eagle stuff? And by the way, I'm recording this Wednesday night. It's about 6:15 as I hit start. Good for you, A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, Jalen Hurts, even some of Nick Sirianni through the week since Monday. You guys did a phenomenal job of cleaning up the noise as best as you could. So, it's ironic that on the day that they actually made me feel better, I pivoted to a different team that is making me feel horrible, like the Philadelphia Phillies. Maybe that's a flaw on my end. Maybe that's a personal flaw that I have to dig deep and really study, because that sounds pretty wild. But anyway, here's what we know. The Phillies haven't done a damn thing, and I have no idea what their purpose is. I have no idea what their plan is. They botched the Alec Bohm situation publicly on him getting traded. Oh, wait, no, we're not trading him. Ugly, ugly, ugly look, wrong look. And it seems like it's a non-polished approach by the entire organization. So that's disgusting. And we'll hear from Rob Thompson momentarily. Not even pursuing Juan Soto. If John Middleton wants his damn trophy back, and if he's going to be getting multiple new investors, you'd think that there would be a correlation with that and spending a boatload of money. Now, $760+ million, Steve Cohen outbidding everybody. Maybe you don't get him anyway, but just the fact that it didn't seem like there was any sense of urgency to attach yourself to such a superstar after the owner of the team screams from the mountaintops nonstop that he wants to do anything to win a championship, and you have to strike when the iron is hot. I won't forget about that. I won't forget about what he was saying to the Philadelphia Inquirer when Scott Lauber wrote a piece right around the trade deadline saying, it's unacceptable to sit on your hands, and you can't be going 8-18, and you got to find ways to get consistency in your offense, and you have to strike when the iron is hot. And if you're watching the Mets get better, if you know the Braves are going to be healthier this year compared to where they were this past season, you have to be able to keep up the pace with a team like the Dodgers, who's snagging all sorts of talent everywhere, adding to their pitching staff. They may not have to go with bullpen games in the postseason next year. They pick up Blake Snell. You got their starting pitcher. I don't know if you know of him, Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, he's now going to be on the bump next season. You have to compete with those guys, and so far they got a bullpen piece. Woohoo! This is the same franchise that when last season ended in ugly, ugly fashion, Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson didn't show a pulse. Let's bring them all back. Kevin Long, hey, there's nothing wrong with our hitting. Let's keep him here. Hey, Kevin Long was supposed to be here because of his friendship and his willingness to work with a Juan Soto. No? I said the only way Kevin Long deserves to keep his job is if it actually brings Juan Soto to the red pinstripes. They didn't make a change whatsoever to a coaching staff after last year's failures, the year before's failures. They just keep failing. They keep failing. And they think that just running it back is going to be this difference. How? You miss out on Crochet. That was a clear target that they really wanted. Heavy talks with the White Sox. You know they were interested in previous times. Bohm was probably going to be the package with that, and that's why it was so loud and so noisy in the public eye, because it was trending in that direction, and you let the Red Sox sneak in and snag them. Now we're dealing with Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, a nice story in Christopher Sanchez. Taijuan Walker fucking sucks, and Ranger Suarez can't manage 200 innings. Until I actually see him do it, I'm not going to believe it. And I think Ranger Suarez is a dynamite player when he's on his A game, but I don't know if he can make it that long. I don't know if he can make it deep enough where his sensational starts is something significant for this team in the most important time of the year. I'm wondering if he should be a bullpen arm and be this unbelievable Swiss Army knife dominant guy that you limit his innings, you take him out of the rotation, and you ask him to be this phenomenal electric elite bullpen piece that can do all sorts of different things. 1 inning, close out a game, 2 innings, if you need to stretch it a little bit. Because I know if you're trying to squeeze real number 3 starter out of him, it's impossible. Now, Andrew Painter getting in the mix is going to be fun and exciting, but you know they're going to limit his innings to some degree. So there's what we have. Bohm playing third, no Alex Bregman. The only way Bregman was a potential target is if Alec Bohm is gone. What do we got? Marsh staying? Fun stuff. Fun stuff. It's a joke. It really is. There's no way you could run out a very similar lineup and think that this team is going to be loved by this town after what they've witnessed. We've seen them come up short, and it seems like it's trending in the wrong direction, and other teams are starting to smell blood. They're starting to overstep you, override you. The Mets just got Juan Soto. I mean, they just paired Juan Soto with Francisco Lindor, and now he's going to be a pain in my ass for the next 15, 16 years. But hey, Scott Boras and Bryce Harper and the Phillies are working on an extension. Yeah, that came from Scott Boras' mouth during these winter meetings. So if there's some joy and some pride that you can take out of all this, it's we might have Bryce Harper until he's 53. I'm glad they really stayed true to what really matters down there when they're trying to accomplish making this team better. So where do they go? I'm worried that there is miscommunication and a lack of focus and not being on the same page, ownership and GM or president, I should say, with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson and Dave are on different thinking modes than the owner. How are you going to win like that? How is that going to bring real success to this city and this baseball team? Dave and Rob putting their feet up in the office saying, we'll get them next year. We got unlucky. It's not unlucky when your offense crumbles the same time every year and the same way every year. It's fundamentally flawed. And unless you change that in some way, shape, or form, and you're not changing the approach because Kevin Long is still here, and you know what he stands for, and you're going to be running back a very Trey Turner defensively, who's going to cost his pitching a lot of extra pitches. And you saw how that destroyed the Yankees, right? Piss poor defense. It kills you in October. So here's Trey Turner, going to be our shortstop. You got Alec Bohm. I'm sure he's going to handle all of this trade rumors just very professionally. I'm sure he's just going to be a pro's pro about it. I'm sure he's going to be very mature about how this all played out. I mean, come on. I never know what to know from Nick. Your center field situation is still a platoon. Talk about no juice. Talk about no excitement. But what they're going to do is sell you that this is a division winner last year. Yeah, but I don't think the Braves are going to play out the same way. And now the Mets have an extra push. And there is a part of me that always feels the Mets are going to Met no matter what. But stealing Juan Soto from the Yankees, having an owner like Steve Cohen who isn't just buying Juan Soto and then saying we're okay now. It's I'm going to continue to add to this team because he's a Mets fan and his goal was to win a championship, and his actions are now describing his words and what he's been saying. While here, yeah, they've done some things over the years, but you still have to pursue. You still have to. It's just how it is. You can't ever punt. You can't ever think you're good enough, especially when you haven't won the trophy. You're clearly not good enough. And I guess the GM, the president, and Rob Thompson think it's okay to just continue to trot this out there and hope that you can get it done because the Dodgers for so many years have been so talented. Yeah, but you're forgetting that the Dodgers just continue to do. They just went out and paid $400 million. Excuse me, $700 million for Shohei Ohtani. They just went out and got Blake Snell. Yo, go look at who was the NLCS MVP. When you need to make an addition, you make an addition. When the Phillies need to make an addition, here's Austin Hayes. Sucks. Here's Tanner Banks. Who? Come on, man. Rob tried telling us that Austin Hayes is an everyday outfielder. Everyday outfielder. I don't even know if he's a platoon. Yet they're trying to drill it home that this kid deserves to play every single day out there. Hey, how about Kyle Tucker? That would be the one area that would make me jump up for joy if you can get some help there, okay? And go get Kyle Tucker. Don't imagine it happening, though. I feel it's going to be very minor. And the reason why I feel that way is because Dave Dombrowski was talking to Todd Zalecki not too long ago. This piece was from about 6 days ago, and it says, now, we're open-minded to things. I don't want to put too much emphasis on that because it's apparent that people have taken that and kind of run with it. But yeah, you're always open-minded, and so the reality is we're open-minded. We're talking to people. We have a good club. If we take the same club back that we had last year and we make a tweak here and a tweak there, I think we'll compete to win the division and be in a position where we'll be a definite postseason contender. A tweak here and a tweak there. Where are those tweaks? To me, the tweak that, I don't even know if you would call it a tweak, but making a real personality change, getting in a Bregman, losing a Bohm, that's a facelift. I wouldn't call that a tweak. That's a facelift. But a Crochet, a Bregman, a Bohm leaving. I mean, I guess that could technically be a tweak if you think of all the roster moves, all the roster people that you have, right? Like Bryce, Schwarber, Stott, Turner. There's majority of people here that I guess you could technically, squeeze by calling that a tweak. But that's one that moves the needle a little bit. Instead, it's going to be what? Somebody playing left field that's whatever. Because don't you think at this point, is it Marsh, Rojas? How is it not going to be? And if it's not, it's probably not going to be a needle mover where it's just a guy. Is that what he's thinking by a tweak? Just a average, middle of the road? I'm trying to think of maybe an outfielder that they could have gotten at the deadline, like a Lane Thomas. Let's say they go get a Lane Thomas. Now, at the deadline, that's different than entering a season. But if they went out to snag a Lane Thomas and said, here's one of our new additions, here's one of our new faces, and they try to sell us, here we go, we did something and we tweaked. My God, is that going to be disappointing? And it sure seems like that's the route that they're going right now, which is a big smack in the face to us Phillies fans. Okay, you want to hear Bryce Harper's extension talk with Scott Boras? There's no question that, those dynamics are being discussed. John Middleton and Dave have taken the time to talk to me about it. So we're in a place where there's very good communication and understanding of what's going on. Thrilled. Exactly what I wanted to get out of the winter meetings. That right there. All right, here's Rob Thompson on Alec Bohm. Take a listen.
Well, certainly you've had a lot of talent on that team, the Kyle Schwarbers, the Trey Turners, the Bryce Harpers. When you look at someone like Alec Bohm, Topper, how would you evaluate his game?
Geez, he's really improved so much. This is, and I know the rumors are flying all over the place. We're not shopping him, but people are approaching us on him, so you got to listen. But this guy has improved so much, not just physically, but mentally over the course of the year, the 3-4 years he's been in the big leagues. Bobby Dickerson, who Buck knows very well, has done an unbelievable job with Alec, getting be better defensively, throwing accuracy, glove action. He's really a good hitter because he does the things that I was talking about not chasing. He does get good pitches to hit. He uses the entire field. He makes contact. That's why he's so good hitting behind Harper, because he's going to put the ball in play with runners in scoring position. He's not going to strike out. You can pretty much book an RBI if Alec is at the plate with less than 2 outs and runner in scoring position.
So I think it's straight up damage control at this point. We were shopping him big time. Oh, we're not now. Yeah, because it's apparent that you weren't able to move him, which makes me wonder, is there a reason why they didn't move him? And not saying because they love him and they want him to return and they want him in that clubhouse and they want to have to deal with asking veterans like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper to put their arms around him nonstop whenever he's crying after mistakes are made or whenever he doesn't like what something's happening. Here comes the vets that have to coddle him and snuggle him and say, it's all going to be okay, little man. All that stuff. I think it's because maybe, just maybe, there wasn't as much intrigue around. Maybe there's truth to, this kid is a baby. This kid is a child. Why would the Phillies give up on someone who plays third base, improved the way he did, right? Played third base the way that he has the last couple of years. I don't think it's nearly as tragic as it was originally. Like originally, I thought he would have to play first base at some point. Now, I think you can survive with him at third. It's not perfect, but I do think that he could play third base without it being the worst idea in the world. So, you have that. You have someone who can hit a lot of doubles, who can knock in a lot of runs, who can put the ball in play. There's a lot of intrigue to the skill set. But if he is as talented as his numbers indicate, then why would the Phillies really want to let him go? And that may be sounding the alarms for teams on the other side. I don't think that's ludicrous. Now, ultimately, if you're a certain franchise that's in a different spot than the Phillies are, maybe you want to take a calculated risk because you feel if you could get somebody like that in your own house, then you have what it takes to make him more professional, to make him more polished, to teach him how to be a pro and all. Although it doesn't get much better than Kyle Schwarber. It doesn't get much better than Bryce Harper. It doesn't get much better than JT Realmuto and Zach Wheeler on a day-to-day basis, but fine. Everybody thinks they have the power to change anybody in athletic situations like this in sports. I don't know why I called it in athletic situations. In sports, though, everybody feels they can do what the other team can't do, and it's worth a chance with that type of skill set. So maybe it's just as much as the Red Sox decided that they were going to put something more sexy together for the Chicago White Sox, or maybe it's the White Sox didn't want to deal with something like Alec Bohm, because nobody in their right mind, if there wasn't any problems with Alec Bohm off the field, would ever want to sell a player like Alec Bohm. Just an interesting thought, that's all. Because it's clear and obvious, right? Don't be fooled. They shopped this man. They shopped Alec Bohm. They shopped him. And it wasn't just they were taking a couple phone calls here and there. I think they were actively on the prowl, trying to do more, and then realized that, hey, it's not happening. But he was the main focus of these deals, with maybe a Justin Crawford, maybe a Caba, maybe some of the guys like that. Not the Andrew Painters and not the Millers. But everybody else is in play. But Alec Bohm is the face of the, okay, if you want to acquire some prospects, but also some ready-to-go talent now with some playoff experience and whatnot, here's Bohm too. So here's another way to look at this. They may end up striking out when it's all said and done and not improving as much as we need them to. But clearly, they did shop Bohm. So that means there was an emphasis on trying to. Do you look at it this way? If they're trying to, it means they do understand they have to get better. Their mindset is, we do need to get better. Like I'm saying, it's baby steps, but is that a reality check of, hey, at least they are putting their foot on the gas, trying to make an explosive trade because they understand they can't just run it back, and now they're just playing media leverage game in case they have to keep Bohm, but they know Bohm is still on the trade block and they're taking calls, and it's probably inevitable he will be shipped out of town, but they're just softening the landing right now in a way with the Alec Bohm experience. I don't know. Listening to Dave and Rob, I think both of them would be totally okay with bringing him back. So I don't know if the sense of urgency to get him out of here and to improve is necessarily super, super strong, even if they were trying their best to see if they can dangle him around into the trade market. So I don't know. Look, I'm all over the place right now, and I'm trying to look at this from every different angle. But when you really boil it down to just the very basic view of where we are in Phillies land, the owner brought in new investors to get a lot of dough. You would think that with that dough, it's because they want to do something significant with it and to continue bringing in some real rare talent. I remember reading that the Phillies wouldn't be against looking at the different tax thresholds and going over if it's for the right player. Yet they didn't feel that it would be important enough to go and say, yo, Juan Soto, yo, Scott Boras, yo, let's sit down and go to the table. Sure, it was Steve Cohen and the Mets. Sure, it was Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees. But why weren't the Philadelphia Phillies in there too and peeking their damn head in? If that's not a player that you're willing to go over some of these tax thresholds for, then who would it be? Austin Hayes? Okay, who would it be? Bamboo Brad Miller? Like, if it's not Juan Soto, then what are we doing here? So again, to simplify it, our owner claims he wants to do anything to go get his trophy back, yet I'm not actually seeing the mechanics follow. I'm not seeing the actions follow those words outside of, sure, there may be new investors, but what have you done with those new investors? Now is the time to utilize those investors, utilize that money, do something big, and make a statement to the damn league that we're not allowing any other NL East teams to overstep us and take that damn division when we finally fucking won it. But now here are the Mets that beat you up in the playoffs, made you their little bitch, and then added Juan Soto. And the Braves, they know how to get it done. They had a weird season last year, but that's an outlier compared to who they really are. And while Max Fried is a loss, and the Yankees scoop him up. When healthy, it's a big if, but when healthy, I'll put my faith in that the Atlanta Braves are going to be a competitive team and make it difficult for you to go back to back. You can mock the Mets pitching staff all you want. You can mock whatever happens with Pete Alonso and think he's a fraud and this and that. Steve Cohen is going to continue to pick up the pieces and form something around Soto and Lindor. It wasn't just go get Juan Soto and then you can just chill and you did your job. It was, no, I'm hungry. I'm determined. I'm trying to do something serious here in Queens. We are now going to see where our top two are in Lindor and Juan Soto. And now we can even add more puzzle pieces around them to make the perfect fit. While we're sitting over here going, all right, Stott had a very bad offensive season, and I don't know where that goes, although I'm not willing to give up on him yet, and I love his glove. Bohm is a mess emotionally, and I don't think he's going to handle the trade situation very well. Trey Turner is very underwhelming for his contract. He is a piss-poor defender, and he is extremely inconsistent as a hitter. I can't believe a 298 hitter, a guy who can hit 300, and it seems like he's consistent with his batting average being around that more times than not in his career. It doesn't feel that way when you watch him play over 162. His lows are just disgusting, and while his highs obviously have to be high for a 300 hitter to be a 300 hitter if his lows are so low, but it's just not what I thought we were getting a superstar. I thought we were getting a game wrecker, a game changer, an elite talent, a special build your franchise around this guy because he's a superstar talent level of player, and I think he's good. I think he's good with awful defense. Awful. He's game-changing, all right. Game-changing, awful, defensively. That's what he is. Platoon in the outfield. Question marks in left field. No clue about Ranger. Taiwan's a stiff. So you got two starters still. Painter will be fun. And JT, is he getting a little bit slowed down due to age? Fun stuff. Just fun stuff. You got to add more to this. You got to add flair. You got to add fire. Credit to the Phillies in this regard. You've been active in the playoffs so many years in a row. We have now reached the point as a fan base that it's not about the playoffs and it's not about the division anymore. It's about making changes from your most recent postseason runs and their failures. We know you can get to the playoffs. Can you win in the playoffs? I don't think this formula works. So credit to them, meaning we have now taken the step from a billion years in a row of Odubel Herrera, Mike Franco, and just trash, and we haven't seen playoffs. Fine. We got past that. Good. Now the bar has moved. We know you can consistently get into the playoffs. Can you get it done in the playoffs? And I don't think your philosophy and your style is something to really double down on at this point. You have to make serious change, and more than just the batting order and Kyle Schwarber. And I don't know exactly where that's going to go. I don't know if Rob Thompson is going to push a major button to start the year to try an identity shift. This isn't the first time I'll say this. It's probably the 6th, 7th, 8th time already, but I would lead off Bryce Harper at this point just to add a different flair. Right? We need flair. We need flair. That's one way to add flair. I need more, but that's one way to start adding flair is Bryce Harper at the top and, kind of get a little different and unique and a different style to the personality of your lineup. I'm at that point, even though I love Kyle Schwarber leading off more than most people can ever imagine, but that's where I'm at. I'm so desperate that, unfortunately for Schwarber, it's one of those things where if a coach gets fired and it's not really the coach's fault, but you need a new voice, you need a new sort of approach as a team, he's the one to go because it's easier to get rid of one man than it is to trade 5 or 6 on your roster. Well, that's how Kyle Schwarber is getting out of that leadoff spot. It's not really about his inefficiency. It's not about his lack of effectiveness. It's just, hey, we have to do something and it's not your fault, but you have to pay the price, and maybe you can bat third or you can bat clean up, however they want to do it, and they have to balance the lefty-righty stuff, of course, but maybe it's just as simple as flipping Schwarber and flipping Bryce, and it's a 1 and 3 thing, although I don't know if you keep it the same and all you do is flip 1 and 3, if that's enough really to get the spark and the rise that I'm personally looking for, but that's just my 2 cents. Hey, before we get out of here, I just want to let you know about Garage Beer. It is the best beer in the world and something that helps me through the pain and suffering of a Phillies offseason that is so quiet, where we were so desperate to get something that could make us enjoy a spring training and something that could push us forward with excitement and a little bit of juice here for a start of another postseason run. You would think that I can just maybe get that, but I can't. Unfortunately, I can't. And Garage Beer and the light beer that touches my lips, which is Garage Beer. It's light beer. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. That helps me through this time, and it will help you as well when you stock your fridge with it. DrinkGarageBeer.com. Make sure you check them out. All right, with that, that's sort of going to wrap things up here on the Phillies front. They aggravate me. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.